Hello, everybody, and a warm welcome to you from Patriots Point Soccer Stadium in Mount Pleasant, South Carolina. A massive game in the Eastern Conference tonight at the USL Championship. The Charleston Battery play host to Memphis 901 FC. It's presented by Charleston County Park. Sean St. Jacques, Anna Whitty here with you. We begin by looking at the Eastern Conference standings. Charleston tonight in third place, looking to hold off Memphis 901, who have 2 games in hand on them. Chance for the Battery to go 8 points clear of Memphis tonight with a victory. For Memphis, a win could put them within 2 points, and they'd still have 2 games in hand, try to push themselves higher in the table and try to get more home playoff games as we get closer to the postseason. Players to watch, Anna, we begin with the Battery and Fidel Barajas. Forward
Fidel Barajas leads the USL Championship in assists with 8 this season. Only 17 years old, he's mature and speedy and crafty on the ball. He drags a lot of attention into the wide areas, which opens up the space just in front of the 18 for a 9 from the Battery to get opportunities on goal. Watch for Barajas to be crafty on the ball and allowing the Battery to be dangerous in the attack. One player from Memphis who's going to look to slow down Barajas is midfielder Aaron Malloy. Great at breaking lines with 6 assists this season. Malloy does the defensive work in that double pivot. Watch for him to provide support defensively, but also looking for opportunities in the attack.
And it's a really important game for both of these two, talking home field advantage in the postseason. But of course, these two met earlier in the campaign back on June 24th. These are their numbers in the league since that game. Ben Pierman faces his former club again tonight.
Memphis with 21 goals against. And Charleston Battery are going to have to take advantage of how Memphis defensively hasn't been able to find their mojo. 4 losses for Memphis as well. Charleston just with 1 loss. However, for the Battery, a clean sheet will be massive as they make that playoff push at home here tonight.
Both teams are very close to clinching spots in the postseason in the USL Championship, but they're fighting for playoff positioning and home field advantage throughout the USL Championship playoffs. It's another big game in the USL Championship's Eastern Conference tonight, and the kickoff between the Battery and Memphis is next.
The estimated hold time is now 96 minutes.
Sorry, are you still there?
Yes.
Okay, please hold.
You hear all the time about Diamonds Direct's prices and selection and warranties. All true, and all good reasons to give us a visit. But what really sets Diamonds Direct apart is something that's hard to put into words. But you will feel it, you'll know it, from the minute you walk in. It's our unique culture, our passion, our genuine and absolute desire to totally revolutionize the way you experience jewelry shopping. It's why we do what we do. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
This is your vacation, your beach, your fields of green, skies of blue, mountains of majesty. You're an athlete, you're obsessed, you're in love, you're in pain, spirit drained, in agony, fighting gravity, because you made a commitment to yourself and others to work on your game, build your frame in blazing heat, exhausted and beat, because when you refuse to yield, your spirit is revealed. You are an athlete. MUSC Health Sports Medicine.
Tonight's match is brought to you by Charleston County Parks. Come explore our 11,000 acres of nature, history, outdoor adventure, and fun. Visit charlestoncountyparks.com to learn more. Sean and Anna back here with you. We jump into the starting lineups brought to you by Bud Light. Here is Ben Pierman's 11 for the Battery.
Charleston going with a 3-5-2 with Wynn, Palma, and Archer. Palma and Archer holding down the floor. Borjas and Dodson will have defensive responsibilities, and watch for the midfield to really have to be the central area to control the possession.
They'll be looking to get some revenge on Memphis after 901 beat them 3-2 back in June. Stephen Glass's boys are looking for the sweep. Here's their 11.
More Memphis in a 4-2-3-1 with DaCosta looking for more goals, 5 goals this season, flanked by Fernando and Kisiadu. Defensively, Kelly and Malloy will be in that double pivot to really hold on to the ball, but also allow for opportunities in behind for Memphis out of the back line.
Well, these two played a 5-goal thriller back in June. We highlighted it. It's been a good couple of months for Charleston since then, just 1 defeat. Memphis has been on a bit of a roller coaster ride since they last played the Battery. Went through a tough run where they just struggled defensively. There's no really big way around that. They just had a difficult time conceding goals. They can score goals. That's never been Memphis's issue. But these last few games, they have rectified that, and they're hoping to bring that kind of momentum here into Mount Pleasant tonight. And Ben Pierman's boys hoping to get some revenge against Ben Pierman's former employers a season ago. Got them into the playoffs, got them a top 2 seed, and they were knocked out by Tampa Bay Rowdies a season ago. Memphis 901 in the postseason, but what a transformation it's been for the Battery from a year ago. Didn't make the playoffs, didn't even come close to making the playoffs. It's so unlike Charleston, but they're right back in the mix again this season, close to clinching a playoff spot, and they're hoping that they can possibly get home playoff games through the first couple of rounds and make a deep run, as we've come so accustomed to them doing in years past. Nabil Ben Salah is our center official. Memphis in their road whites will kick us off, and we are underway from Mount Pleasant, South Carolina. 3rd versus 4th in the Eastern Conference of the USL Championship. An important game for the Battery. A chance to go 8 points clear of Memphis for the 3rd spot in the East. Memphis can close within 2 points of Charleston with 2 games in hand. Sean St. Jacques and a Whitty on hand for this one. Good crowd as always here in South Carolina, and it promises to be a thrilling encounter between 2 of the East bests. Battery in their black and yellows with the red trim, trying to move it up the field on this near side. Avila nearly broke through, but Akeem Ward snuffs it out, and Drew Romig will reset for Memphis 901 FC. Tough one for Charleston last time out, the 2-0 defeat against red-hot Orange County. They're just absolutely tearing the West apart at the moment. For Memphis, 0-0 draw against Indy after Indy went down to 10 men just before the halftime interval, but Memphis couldn't find a game-winning goal. Here's Mark Koenig for the Battery. Maraud his way towards the penalty area, get some bodies around him, and Allen will reset.
Charleston not looking to go direct and try and force balls into the attacking third when it's not there. Battery side want to be very possession-based and oriented, try and make this Memphis side move. So watch for them to not just take shots from anywhere, but be really clinical about their opportunities.
Avila brought down by Laurent Kisiadu. Inside of 2 minutes, the Battery have a set-piece opportunity.
Avila with a great dribble, trying to look for somebody inside the 18, instead gets dragged down right away. Watch as this ball gets played inside. Avila picks his head up, is looking to play his defender, but on his left side, no reason for Memphis just to get stuck in. Continue to move your feet and wait for that opportunity to continue to push them wide.
See if set pieces are a bit of an X factor in this game. Talking back to a few matches ago where Memphis really succumbed to the pressure on some set piece opportunities. Chance for them to stand tall here with Icaza and Barajas over this set piece for the Battery. It's hit by Barajas. It's beautifully chipped. It was very dangerous, and it's headed out for a corner.
Barajas with an in-swinger, looking for a player on far post, just not able to get that one down in time. Good defensive clearance from Memphis just to keep that one out of the area, but this is where Charleston's really dangerous by Barajas' service. An in-swinger with his left foot. Watches Memphis is the first player to get there, just trying to get it out of the area.
was Luis Fernando helping out defensively for the visitors. The same two men over this corner with Icaza taking charge. Barajas nearby for a short option. In by Icaza. Central header is by Dotson. Allen, maybe a chance for a shot. I think that was Barajas who got back on the end of it, and he drills it high and wide of Drew Romig's goal.
Charleston able to keep that ball alive. Memphis not able to clear it right away. That's something Memphis defensively has to work on. There's 3 balls that are played back inside the 18. Watch as Charleston just keeps this alive until that opportunity drops just outside the 18. Unfortunately for Battery, isn't able to get themselves over the ball to get it underneath the crossbar.
Memphis has been under siege in these first 4 minutes, but they've gotten out, and in the end it's Rodrigo da Costa, who was fouled by Leland Archer.
Archer just trying to keep Memphis moving backwards. Doesn't get his foot stuck in, but a little too much pressure from behind. Charleston has to be really careful playing in a 3-back, making sure their center backs are disciplined and playing with the players in front of them. However, that responsibility from Dotson and Barajas is massive to track back with Memphis having the ball in transition.
There's Aaron Malloy, 6 assists for him this season. It's a good ball curled into the penalty area. Too much on it from Akeem Ward, and it's out for a goal kick. Today's keys to the game are brought to you by Gildan, a leader in high-quality, comfortable apparel basics, located right here in the Low Country. And for Charleston, and it's about creating more chances.
Charleston has to get more opportunities in the attacking third. Without Williams in the starting 11 for Charleston, it's going to have to be a collective effort in the attack with Traeger and Markanik, Dotson and Barajas continuing to provide the services he has in the first 5 minutes. For Memphis, the defensive responsibilities are massive. They've conceded 37 goals so far this season and have really struggled to get cohesiveness on their back line. So the communication between Smith and Turchi will be massive with McFadden and Ward on the flanks.
Yeah, Memphis has just a +3 goal differential this season. They've scored 40 goals, which is one of the top marks in the league. Look at the season as a whole, to your point, Anna. That's been the biggest issue for Stephen Glass's group, consistency on the defensive end of the field. They found a little bit of that recently, but can they keep that going? That's going to be the big key. 3 clean sheets in the last 4 games has led to a 4-match unbeaten run for Memphis, but before that, they were really struggling to hold on to leads because of their defensive miscues at times.
Memphis has really impressive players on the back line, just struggled with some injuries, and the continuity on the back line is massive when you're playing against teams in this league who are highly transitional. So defensively, you're going to be in situations where you're going to have to be caught on your heels. So communication is the first massive key, and then also making sure you understand the principles and how the attacker wants to move, so you're in that spot before they get there.
Also worth mentioning as well, Memphis with 10 wins this season in 24 games. 6 of them have come on the road. They've had a rather strong road record. They've only lost twice away from home in 12 games, Memphis, this season. So when they leave Beale Street, if you will, they do tend to bring back points.
Memphis being a transition-oriented team works in their benefit. When teams go on the road, they want to be direct, and now that they have that under the belt, and that's the main principle for them, that's how they have success. However, Charleston defensively is very sound, and they're structured, playing in a 3-back with 2 fairly consistent center backs in Palma and Archer. So breaking through them and trying to figure out the best passing patterns to break their defensive line will be a key tonight.
Da Costa. Sent some traffic there initially. It's going to go back out of play for a throw. Today's injury report is brought to you by MUSC Health Sports Medicine. Of course, we know about Bawana. He's been out for the season with a long-term injury. Randall's actually out because of international duty for the Battery, and no Hinman and no Reese Buckmaster for Stephen Glass. Those are two big misses to Memphis' depth, and we'll see how they're able to manage tonight. Centering pass to Malloy. The Irishman sends it down to the far side, maybe a chance to cross this into the middle, and Allen is there for the Battery to make sure nobody could really attack it, but it's recycled by Malloy. It's Fernando, and he ends up skying it after a step over on the edge of the penalty area.
Great idea from Memphis, and Fernando had that space in front of him to continue to go and try and get a shot a little bit closer to goal. Memphis is starting to find ways to pick apart Charleston, and that area was so big for Fernando to take a shot on frame.
We asked Ben Pierman about Charleston's last game against Orange County. He said that not only were we outplayed, we were outcoached in that game, and said that one of the biggest things for this team is that, you know, those things can happen at times, but Charleston's a team that is so good at bouncing back from those kind of moments. They've done it throughout the entire season when a result like that happens. And he's hoping for another response tonight against a very good Memphis team. They're looking to get a little bit of vengeance and retaliation against.
The last time Charleston and Memphis played, Charleston outshot Memphis 19-7, had much more opportunities in the final third, and Coach Pierman said it's going to be a completely different look in the attacking third. Pieces have moved around. Memphis has added players to their back line and also into the attack, so they won't be able to dominate as much in this game. Creating chances and trusting the process will be important for this Battery side.
We talked about the Memphis miscues. It was actually a couple of Charleston miscues that let them down in Memphis last time around in a 3-2 defeat.
The biggest piece for Charleston is consistency, and such a good, consistent team who's been able to stay at the top of the table. However, once the game continues to go, making sure that you're mentally locked in and you're not allowing those miscues inside your own 18 to allow the other team to get results.
Sent forward by Archer, easy for Robick. Battery matches are the perfect place to make lifelong memories with your friends and family. Groups of 10 or more can enjoy discounted tickets, exclusive on-field experiences, private hospitality areas. To catch the match and more, visit charlestonbattery.com to learn more and plan a memorable night at Patriots Point.
It's a beautiful night in Charleston, too. The fans that Charleston draws is always so impressive, and especially as the sun goes down in Charleston, it gets a little bit more bearable to be outside.
Even last year, during some of the rougher stretches, this place was still close to full almost every night. It's one of the best fan bases in the league. There's no question about that.
Charleston putting on a really good show, and the fact that they are able to find themselves in a good spot in the Eastern standings right now, just in that third spot, but it's about consistency in these last few games and making sure that they're mentally locked in. A young team as well, who isn't normally in these positions, so Coach Pierman has a huge responsibility to make sure his team is physically ready, but also mentally ready for the last stretch of these games.
We mentioned at the top, and it is worth reiterating, not only the fact that we're getting very close to the playoffs. We're about a month and a half away from the beginning of the USL Championship playoffs. But on top of that, you know, Charleston and Memphis are very close to clinching playoff spots. Pittsburgh could actually clinch tonight if results go their way. So the top four teams are in good shape from that perspective. As Memphis is on the attack here. Header is wide from Kisiedu and held by Trey Muse. But really is going to come down to the fight for positioning and seeding in the playoffs. Top four teams in the East and the West get a home playoff game in the first round. That is a big, big thing to fight for down the stretch. And with the likes of Louisville on the heels of these two teams, that's why this game means quite a bit tonight.
Louisville City, a team with plenty of experience and typically in a really good playoff position. Charleston, a younger team, Memphis with more experience, but still with new pieces within their system. Sitting in that third and fourth spot isn't the most comfortable. 1 through 4 get home games in the first match in the playoffs. So those are two spots that both of these sides want to hold on to. Getting a result here tonight would make them just a little bit more comfortable in their last few remaining games.
It would help Charleston in particular, with Memphis having 2 games in hand, regardless of tonight's result, as the flag is going to be up here against Ward. And it's a reset for the Battery defensively.
Great idea from Memphis, just a little too direct. Charleston does a good job to notice that Ward is really pushing that line, so just stepping up their line before Ward can get in behind. Ward, a defensive player for Memphis, an outside back who's going to look to get really forward. And Ward and McFadden are players that are going to trade off who's going to be in the attack and who's going to sit off. It's proven too for Charleston that Ward and McFadden are going to be asked a lot of in the attack, but also defensively, so really trying to execute in the wide areas.
Nice ball threaded through into the final third here for the Battery. Referee spots an infraction. It's a Charleston free kick with Avila trying to make some headway.
Avila trying to create opportunities by keeping the ball at his feet. Memphis not slowing their feet defensively and getting themselves set to slow down Avila. A good opportunity again for Charleston just outside the 18.
Once again, Ikaza will stand over the set piece for Charleston. Chips it into the penalty area, plenty of white shirts around it, and Kisiedu clears it. Here's Allen. Near side, Dotson. Assessed his options, flares it into the penalty area. It's a skewed clearance. Maybe a chance for Markanek to get possession back for the Battery, though it's a very nice little nifty play there by Ward under pressure. And Memphis do beautifully here to play themselves out of pressure. They were nearly trapped in that corner, but Ward finds the key to unlock it. And now Memphis in transition could do some damage here, but DaCosta's cut off by a nice challenge by Leland Archer, and a free kick goes Charleston's way on the back end.
Well done by Memphis, not only to build themselves out of defensive pressure, but also to switch the point of attack and see that Charleston has left the left side of the field completely open. That last piece has to be better from Memphis to find DaCosta open. Charleston knows that DaCosta is the mark that Memphis is trying to find. There's opportunities all over the field, not just the one that everyone from the Battery side is swarming.
We've talked about how there's history between these two. Memphis got some revenge in Ben Pierman's return to Tennessee in the first matchup. Now the Charleston Battery wants some revenge, but of course, I should mention as well, these are two very strong attacking sides. There's going to be a lot of chances. Avila's in for a chance here, and he scores! It's an absolutely magnificent goal from Beto Avila. And the Battery strike first inside of 17 minutes.
Avila finding himself wide in a 1v1 situation against Turchi, notices that he's not very good defensively in that spot. Watches Avila, his initial first touch is inside, and the fact that he beats his defender, takes the ball back inside, cuts off Turchi's ability to continue to try and slow down Avila. Avila with a really good technical ability to get past his defender and slot it home near post. Pretty good gritty too. I mean, I'm not that great at judging dances, but I'd say that's a pretty good one from others I've seen.
Third goal of the season for Beto Avila. And he ends up beating Drew Romig at his near post to give the Battery the lead. It's a dazzling play brought to you by Diamonds Direct. And Memphis, after they looked like they were gonna possibly create some chances at the other end, are sucker punched by Charleston.
Avila so technically sound, and when he finds himself in positions to score and that close to the 18, Memphis has to slow their feet and just continue to follow the player into a spot. Initially, Memphis does a good job of pushing him wide, but doesn't cut down that space for Avila to score.
The smoke is still clearing the field after that beautiful Avila finish. And Memphis, again, didn't look like they were going to concede after that wild sequence where it looked like they were going to be the ones to potentially create a big chance, but That's how dangerous these two can be in transition, and Charleston's in behind again. Avila's in the middle, and it's touched away from him, but he keeps it alive, and Barajas skies it. Nearly a second for the battery, but the chance is lost.
Avila in a great position, just on top of the 6, decides not to continue his run. Watches Avila, he's in a good spot. Nobody's defensively marking him. Barajas stays wide, just doesn't get himself over the ball, using his instep, trying to finish that one. Great possession and build-up from Charleston in the attacking third, not only to get there and connect with their teammates, but also to keep those balls on the ground to make it easier for them to deal with.
Ooh, a big coming together as Ikaza released that ball to Dotson. And it's Kelly who's been summoned by Nabil Ben Salah, our center official.
Ikaza trying to pass it back to his defender, and Memphis just to continues his run. Kelly doesn't slow his feet at all. You can see he's just trying to go full throttle, win the ball higher up the pitch for his side. Memphis hasn't really found any possession or any quick transition in the attacking third. Kelly looking for those opportunities.
Barajas has had a tremendous season, 2 goals, 8 assists, which leads the league. Dotson finds some space. Outside of the boot pass into the middle is deflected and cleared by Ward, but not definitively. Dotson keeps alive. Markanek, Ikaza is able to recycle the possession for Archer. Nearly 20 minutes gone. Allen dispossessed. Nice work defensively by Kelly. In the end, the referee stops it. I think it might have been handled at some point on the back end of that sequence. It's a Memphis free kick. Well, that's now twice that Memphis has had good possession in Charleston's final third. And in the end, they nearly conceded 2 goals on the back end of said possession.
Charleston has started to set the tempo a little bit more in these last 5 minutes. Memphis looking for now a little bit more transition, with Kelly stepping high and the entire midfield starting to follow him. It's turning over the ball from Memphis that'll hurt them.
They turned it over again. Traeger tries to sit down the defender and the goalkeeper. He did so, but the ball was nicked away from him after a giveaway initially by Akeem Ward. Another big chance for the Charleston battery. Now Memphis come the other way. What can they conjure up? Malloy looks for an equalizer. And it wasn't far away. Very strong hit from the Irishman, but it was always rising in the end.
Not a bad idea from Malloy. He sees the space. He knows he has the ability to hit it from that distance. Why not? Watches Malloy, takes a really good touch to set himself up. There's nobody around Malloy. You see him looking for another option. Why not hit it? With the power and the pace, it's there, just not able to get underneath it, rather overtop it enough.
Aaron Malloy has 60 chances created coming into the night. That's the best mark in the league. That's always been a part of his game, was with Forward Madison a couple of seasons ago in USL League One, then came to Memphis under Ben Pierman last season and absolutely lit the league on fire with his incredible distribution. And under Stephen Glass, he's gotten even better.
Malloy coming in second in the MVP run last season for Memphis. Coach Pearson, when he talked about this team, he said that Malloy was going to be the biggest piece that Charleston has to shut down. Avila is that big piece for Charleston because he's lived on the ball and he's lived in the areas that typically Malloy wants to dominate.
Ben Pierman, of course, knows this team so well, coached a lot of these guys last season. Talked about Malloy, talked about Jeremy Kelly as well as being an important focal point for what Memphis likes to do. And it is Malloy, stands over this set piece with his 2 goals and 6 assists to his name this season. Memphis in search of a leveler here. Served in by Malloy. It was a dangerous area, but the battery do get heads on it to clear it away. Barajas holds it up beautifully initially under pressure, but he follows through and concedes the free kick to Akeem Ward. Memphis don't waste any time restarting the play. Kisiedu, 4 men around him, finds Kelly. Kelly back from DaCosta, and Kelly was taken out. Referee allows play to continue. Fernando back out wide. Gets it again. Fernando chipping it into the penalty area. Shot does come in! And Muse, on the second time of asking, controls off the attack and shot from Aiden McFadden.
Memphis continuing to build up and connect the small pieces on the right side of the field, making Charleston have to chase and make a decision. Good idea outside the 18, but inside the area has proven to be more dangerous for Memphis if they want to get high percentage chances on goal.
Goes out of play. There's a brief stoppage here. Nabil Ben Salah, yellow card is coming out here. We're being told it's the Memphis bench that's been booked here. I guess maybe some chirping going on. It should be mentioned that Stephen Glass, Memphis' head coach, was sent off the last time these two teams got together. They're halfway to that happening again.
Memphis have to be careful containing their emotions on the sideline. However, Memphis has had opportunities in the attack now, is starting to build up on some of the momentum in transition. Charleston's done a good job of riding that wave.
Ball's played into no man's land and through the legs of Ben Pierman. Select is the official match ball supplier of the USL Championship and many elite leagues throughout Europe. Visit www.us-select-sport.com for the latest Select product specials and more. Select is the player's choice. Allen, the battery back on the attack here. Barajas for Dotson. Del Barajas, the teenager, just continues to have a remarkable season for Charleston. Again, Memphis trying to build out. They nearly give it away. They get it back. Here's DaCosta. McFadden is making a run through the middle. Ball is flared out wide for Fernando. Back in looking for McFadden, and it's headed away by Archer, only as far as Kisiedu. Kisiedu with a good ball back in, headed towards goal, but again redirected away, and Ikaza clears.
Great defensive play by Charleston, set the entire way through. Charleston's back line was all level as that play developed, and as soon as a wide player from Memphis received the ball, Battery was right there to close down the space, but also dominate airily inside the 18.
Allen from Ikaza, and he was trying to link up with Fidel Barajas. In the end, it's Drew Romick who gets the pass from him in the end.
You mentioned Coach Pierman and his time at Memphis. He brought over 4 players from Memphis, 3 players who are starting here tonight for the Battery into Charleston, South Carolina. Muse, Dotson, Allen all come over from Memphis and bring that experience into a really young team. So Coach Pierman has a lot working with him, having that experience that he has in Memphis and bringing that over with the players that he has had in Memphis and bringing here to the Battery.
Assistant coach Devin Rensing also came over. He got the job with Charleston and Pierman. Of course, Ben Pierman did such a great job with Memphis. They were a top 2 seed in the playoffs a year ago. Lost at the death at home to Tampa Bay Rowdies in the second round. So we're gonna make it another deep run this time though with Charleston.
2 of the players included that came over from Memphis, being Hughes and Allen, a goalkeeper and a true center midfielder, are massive for Coach Pierman because that's so much consistency, that's so much leadership in crucial areas, and that's what's gotten Charleston into the spot they are in now, this point in the season, because there's been so much consistency and understanding of how Pierman wants to play.
And in some ways, that's also a way of tipping our cap to what Stephen Glass has done with Memphis this season. Lost quite a bit when Ben Pierman left. They kept quite a bit as well, must be said, and had a bit of a roller coaster ride at times this season. Memphis had a little bit of a slow start, but then they went on that franchise record 12 straight victories at one point, and then they went on another wild run where they just had a bunch of struggles defensively, but now they're 4 unbeaten, and they look to be trending in the right direction again.
Pyramid took a lot of Memphis attacking pieces, and Memphis has been able to recover from that so well. The biggest piece for Memphis is just defensively, and that comes from continuity from players getting off of the IR list, back into play and back into consistency with the midfield and with the players around them.
Of course, there is a scenario where these two teams could meet in the postseason. It's very tight. We'll see if that ends up happening. A lot of games left to decide that. Here's Leston Paul for Memphis, allowed to run into the penalty area, but in the end, Allen stands him up. It's recycled, though, by Kelly. Kisiedu keeps it alive. This is Luis Fernando who shoots. He tries to shovel one towards goal, and in the end, it's over the top of Muse's net.
Great build-up from Memphis. It's that last piece that has to be better and in a better area for them to score. Watch as the build-up continues. Memphis is able to recycle the play again. However, Fernando just takes an opportunity out of nowhere, doesn't pick up his head and see where it can go. For Memphis, they have to work on getting balls better inside the 18, a little bit closer to frame, because they haven't really been able to test Muse.
McFadden is able to thread that through. Nice job by DaCosta holding up the play. And again, McFadden trying to go to work. Very versatile player, Aiden McFadden, going back to his days with Atlanta United too, when they were in the USL Championship, was arguably their best player, their best prospect at the time.
That was a big piece for this Memphis side, was getting more consistent outside backs, and Aiden McFadden adds that. Still young in his career, 24 years old, and is now in his 3rd game for this Memphis side. But you can see how Memphis is able to exhale a little bit because they have someone that they trust so much in the wide areas, has spent time in MLS, has spent time in the 2nd team with Atlanta United, understands how this Memphis side wants to play because Glass comes from the Atlanta program. So McFadden, a massive piece for this Memphis backline.
Just past the half-an-hour mark into that hydro break here in Mount Pleasant, with the Battery ahead by a Pedro Avila goal to nil, his 3rd goal of the season, and we look back at it, it was a lovely finish.
Avila picking up the ball in a great area, knowing that he can beat his defender by just passing past him. Does a great job of cutting inside and taking his initial touch towards frame. Avila is so good technically on the ball, sees that the goalkeeper isn't married to the post and slots it in at the right place. Can you do the gritty, Sean? Is that in your repertoire?
I can do it, but not well, would be my response to that.
I understand. That would be my response as well. I love to dance, though, just not that dance in particular.
Hydro break continues here. We remind you that the Battery are back at Patriots Point on Saturday, September 9th, facing San Diego Loyal SC. Tickets are available now via SeatGeek, the Battery's exclusive ticketing provider. Get your tickets now and save up to $10 per seat when you buy in advance. Head to tickets.charlestonbattery.com today. This hydration break brought to you by Recover 180. Hopefully a few of the fans getting a quick breather and a quick break as well. Certainly the players need it. It's been a pretty end-to-end game so far. Plenty of chances, but it's only been Avila who's been able to take one for Charleston.
A very transitional game for both sides. Memphis has had the upper hand in the last 5 or so minutes. However, inside the 18, haven't had many opportunities. This Memphis side has only taken 2 touches inside the box, inside Charleston's area. That shows that Memphis has done a good job getting into the final third, but creating chances is something that they've really struggled with in the first half. Starting the play here with Dotson down the line. It's
going to trickle out of play for a Memphis throw. And Charleston's ability to sucker punch, that's really allowed them to take the lead in this game and nearly add a couple more. Memphis have had some good opportunities, but not nearly as good as Charleston's. And a yellow card has come out here for Fidel Barajas. He's perplexed. Wonder if that was for a time-wasting tactic at the tail end.
Barajas hits the ball out of the Memphis player's hand as he heads back onto the field. Just a mental thing you can't do, and a well-deserved yellow card for the young player.
Yellow card is brought to you by Sphinx Convenience Stores, located across South Carolina. And those are ones that are so unnecessary to pick up.
In a game that is so tight between Charleston and Memphis, you have to make the good and smart mental decisions off the field, and you can't allow the emotions of the match to get into your head. Barajas only being 17 years old, that's something he's going to have to learn in his career, and something that Coach Pearman's definitely going to have to manage. We spoke with Coach Pearman about the youth of his team, second youngest team in USL Championship, and how he feels like that doesn't matter at all. He's been able to create a lot of good leaders, and the communication within that leadership is massive within a young team, being able to be vulnerable.
Dotson back to Muse with about 10 minutes and change left in the half. 6 games going on right now. The USL Championship is a Florida derby at the moment. Rowdies leading Miami by a 0-0. Loudoun at Indy, they lead by a 0-0 as well. El Paso's in Hartford tonight. They need a win very, very badly. Locomotive, they lead by a 0-0. It's no score in Louisville. Lou City and Oakland, that's a huge game for both teams. And besides our game, RGV and San Diego just kicked off. 5 minutes in, no score.
A lot of big implication games around the league. Indy 11 played a midweek game, and Loudoun United taking advantage of that. Something that Charleston has to do against Memphis here tonight as well. Some tired legs on the road, an opportunity to solidify 3 points at home.
Can Charleston add on to their lead before halftime? Well, it's a big swing and a miss after Traeger laid that ball off down the far side. Memphis picks possession back up. Kelly. DaCosta had his pocket picked. Charleston could come the other way. Lovely threaded ball through for Barajas. It's still Barajas! And it's touched over for a corner by Drew Romig off a brilliant strike from the teenager.
Ward caught a little too high, allowing Barajas an opportunity in behind. Watch as Barajas is left completely unmarked, takes that touch centrally instead of into the wide areas, doesn't get himself over top of that ball. It's a great save by the goalkeeper. Barajas has so much time and space to his right, instead takes it into the area that has many players for Memphis. That's where Barajas could have just used his right foot to get it into a more threatening area where there's more real estate.
2 goals for Barajas this season. This is where he's one of the best in the league. 8 assists. He has a corner kick opportunity here. Serviced into the near post, headed out of trouble for now. Ball is recycled back towards the penalty area, but in the end, it's going to go out for a goal kick. That was a big stop from Drew Romig to Barajas. Like you said, Anna got into a nice pocket of space and nearly made Memphis pay for it.
A great save from Romig as well to get up, to time that ball so well and just get a fingertip on it. No need to pull that one down. See it over the crossbar, and Memphis has been saved multiple times by their goalkeeper, and Romig, the ability to get up, to read the game well.
And Romig is sitting on 2 straight clean sheets, although that obviously is ended tonight. But going into the night, he'd allowed just 1 goal in the last 4 games. Was a Team of the Week honor roll, or I should say honorable mention for Team of the Week this week as well. Drew Romig has been in very good form. And he would want that Avila strike back at his near post, but on the whole, he's been in really strong form for Stephen Glass.
Romig with 5 clean sheets this season. With the way that Memphis defensively has struggled to find continuity, that is massive for your goalkeeper to continue to gain confidence as they make this playoff push.
Another thing too, we talked about Memphis's strong road record. This is their 5th road match in their last 6 games. This has been their arguably toughest point of the season as far as the schedule is concerned, and they have really stood up to the test. But there's work for them to do here, down a goal and on their back foot. Ikaza for Charleston whips in a beautiful cross, and it's headed wide of the goal by Markanek.
Markanek just not able to get his foot properly on that ball. It's a great idea from Charleston in the wide areas. They see that Memphis isn't locked up with Markanek inside the box. There's nobody marking him. Might as well take that ball inside. Markanek with his header just doesn't redirect it on frame. It's way too far out of near post.
Second leading goal scorer for the Battery this season. 7 goals for Nick Markanek. A couple previous conversations with Ben Pierman, he's waxed lyrical about how Nick Markanek's just come in with the right attitude this season, and it's really paid off big dividends for him with his hard work. He's been such a huge piece for what Charleston have done this campaign.
Markanek, his ability to slot 7 goals with an assist this season without Williams on the pitch here tonight. Markanek has a massive responsibility in the attack to find opportunities in the back of the net for this Battery side.
Now that Memphis' turn, Malloy to the middle, Archer clears with Kisiedu being the target. Don't miss a minute of the action in 2023, whether your club is on the road or at home. Catch nearly every second of USL Championship action here on ESPN Plus, the home of the USL, La Liga, the Bundesliga, UFC, and more. Sign up today at plus.espn.com. Before he brings this back, it's going to be a foul and a free kick that goes Charleston's way. 4 minutes plus stoppage time left in the half.
Kelly trying to keep this ball locked in again for Memphis and just hitting the Battery player from behind. Memphis has had their opportunities in the attack. However, trying to keep Charleston locked in is something they've struggled with. Kelly's been a big piece of trying to do that. Just a foul unnecessary from the Memphis player.
Crowd in South Carolina is like what they've seen so far. Game is still very much on a knife edge as we approach halftime. Ball's played ahead by Muse. Ward with a dangerous clearance, but it finds Malloy, who gives possession back to Charleston again. Ikaza. Malloy trying to make up for his mistake. Ball sent ahead to Traeger. It's a nice overlapping run. Ball into the middle looking for Markanek. He is cleared by Leston Paul. Now can Paul lead the break for Memphis? Kelly waits for help. Malloy is able to run into some space here for Memphis 901. Kisiedu's cross is blocked by Allen. When Allen tried to send Kisiedu the wrong way, but that trailing leg of Laurent Kisiedu stopped Memphis, or I should say stopped Charleston from breaking out again.
Kisiedu doing The good defensive work to track back once he does lose the ball, because Memphis has really struggled in the wide areas defensively to slow down the opportunities from the Battery. Dotson dropping back into a more defensive role for Charleston tonight to slow down the opportunities from Memphis out wide. You'll see Memphis continue to try and let their players in the wide areas go and find opportunities in behind. With Dotson back there, it slows down those chances.
It's a great throw into the middle of the penalty area, just on the outskirts. Markanek has Allen in support. Reset out wide for Wynn. Back for Palma, and a full reset for the Battery. Sent forward by Archer. He's kept in for Wynn. We approach injury time at the end of the half. Allen. Could Charleston double their lead here before the halftime interval? Be a massive momentum shift. Palma, as Memphis do break out and force the Battery further back. Traeger. Back for Palma.
Charleston looking to kill some time here, making Memphis chase before they go into the locker room by continuing to keep possession and pass along their back line.
I was going to say maybe the Battery are content with the 1-0 lead going into the break, but there's going to be a chunk of stoppage time at the back end of this first half. And that is an errant pass picked off by Kisiedu. We're into 3 added minutes at the end of the half here. Kelly. Fernando's open for Memphis, and his shot takes a big deflection on the way through, and it's out for a corner.
Almost a very unfortunate giveaway from Charleston in the middle of the field. They completely controlled the buildup and was just trying to be a little too cheeky with that ball in behind. Unlucky from Memphis, not able to capitalize on this opportunity with Charleston trying to get back defensively in transition. Fernando, with a mark on his backside, hits a deflection.
Malloy from the corner. Whips the ball in from Memphis. It's dangerous. It's headed out of the penalty area, only as far as Archer. Stoppage time at the end of this half is brought to you by MUSC Health Sports Medicine. And it's 3 added minutes. We've had about a minute of it. Memphis in search of an equalizing goal. Avila has the Battery ahead. Weston Paul finds Fernando. Ball in by McFadden, and it's off the post from DaCosta. Battery were looking for a whistle. It never came, and they had to clear it. DaCosta was wide open, and he stings the frame.
DaCosta's so unlucky inside the box. It's well done by Memphis to get it into a dangerous area and to allow DaCosta to be wide open just in front of the 6. Memphis now using these last few minutes, they feel the momentum. They know that they can get themselves in dangerous areas. Charleston has to be disciplined defensively.
Ball is whipped in again by McFadden. Deflected out for another corner.
From the wide areas, McFadden does a great job to continue his run inside. It's DaCosta wide open in the middle of the box, using his instep and keeping it low on the ground where the goalkeeper wouldn't be able to get it. Unlucky that it goes off the crossbar, and Charleston does a great job of just clearing it high and wide.
Another set piece for the Battery to defend. Battery almost broke the cardinal rule there. They didn't play to the whistle, and it almost cost them there. Nabil Ben Salah making sure everything stays civil inside the penalty area. Ball in from Malloy again is dangerous, but no one could really attack it for either side. Kelly picks up the pieces, but his pass is left short, and Charleston clear their lines. Final seconds of what's been a really exciting half. Memphis sent it forward one more time, and that is how the half ends in Mount Pleasant. It was very much an end-to-end game in the first half. Beto Avila's goal has Charleston in front by a 1-0 Anna at the half.
Charleston dominated the first half of this first half. They found opportunities, they possessed, and they really went at this Memphis center back and got them really disorganized. However, the way that Memphis was able to build up and find chances in the last few minutes is something they'll look to capitalize on in the second half.
It is poised to be a very exciting second half here in South Carolina. The first half, if it's any indication, means we have some very, very big moments still to come. But at the moment, it is Charleston ahead of Memphis in the rematch by a 0-0 at the half.
There's a brand new morning, rising clear and sweet and free. There's a new day dawning that belongs to you and me.
This is no sleepy-headed, moving in reverse kind of state. We're home to barrier-breaking humans who took $7 billion and invested it in microchips, potato chips, nope, education. This investment, it builds jobs and more jobs where people create things like flying, not that. Who does all this? Forward-thinking pilgrims of change, like you. South Carolina. Now that's smart.
Sean and Anna back here with you at the half between Charleston and Memphis. Midweek highlights in the USL Championship. We begin with a seesaw affair in Hartford. Pittsburgh threw a 3-0 lead away, only to win it at the end.
Pittsburgh stayed honest with Hartford, making it very difficult to get this one. However, they stay in that #1 spot in the Eastern Conference.
Big win in the end, despite a great Hartford effort. Then Birmingham fell behind at Tulsa early on, scored 3 points after getting 3 goals.
Massive road win for Birmingham to stay in that 6th spot in the standings. Tulsa still able to make that playoff push, just in that last spot in the Eastern Conference in 8th place.
See if Birmingham can push for a home playoff game in the Eastern Conference after a big road victory. Tulsa hanging on, like you said, Anna, in the bottom part of the Eastern Conference. Then Memphis had a man up in the second half against Indy, but it finished 0-0.
Memphis with a huge opportunity at home to get a win in the midweek. A massive missed opportunity. They still stay in that playoff push in the 4th spot in the Eastern Conference. However, they're looking for redemption against Charleston here tonight.
Charleston Battery hosted their 3rd night practice this week, presented by Volvo Cars. They hosted season members as well as youth players from the Charleston Soccer Club.
We all have goals. But let's be honest. Most of us aren't going to be professional athletes. But if your goal is to finish your degree, we can help. Come to a university that puts your goals first. Bellevue University, your partner in finishing goals.
There's a brand new morning, rising clear and sweet and free. There's a new day dawning that belongs to you and me.
Sean St. Jacques, Anna Whitty back here at the half in Mount Pleasant, South Carolina. Charleston 1, Memphis 0. Big 45 minutes still to come in the Low Country. It has been an exhilarating half of USL Championship soccer so far. We're excited to see what happens in the second half. But first, let's take a look around the league. And we'll start by looking at some news and notes in the USL Championship. Most notably, Anna, big news with San Diego Loyal, and this being their last season as a club, unfortunately.
So sad to hear the ownership of San Diego announce that. They've done so many good things in their short run in USL Championship with such an amazing fan base. They'll certainly be missed among the league.
They are obviously going to have the ownership move to a new market, but those San Diego fans are the ones that lose the team, and our thoughts are with them after a tough day of news, couple days of news for them. Big news for Sac Republic, switching to some more positive stuff, celebrating their 10th anniversary against Orange County. That's a big game later on, 11 p.m. Eastern on ESPN+. All of it's going to culminate with the USL Championship final sometime between November 9th and November 13th, under 50 days away from the start of the USL Championship playoffs. We can't wait for it. All of these games are building to that, and there's still many twists and turns and moments of drama still to come. Of course, that means we have to look at some more games going on, and some more games still to come around the league as well. Here's the upcoming schedule, and of course it is mostly USL on ESPN and ESPN+. Birmingham against Detroit sticks out immediately. Phoenix against Sac Republic as well, and Memphis have to go to Hamtramck to take on Detroit City next Saturday.
Miami FC has had a massive uptick, and once they overturned it to a new head coach, will be a really fun game to watch next Wednesday against Indy 11. That's my fourth most excited game I'm looking forward to next weekend for sure.
And San Antonio, the champions, go to play the Toros of RGV. Omer Cabrera's group with a big win against Phoenix last time out. They're right back in the mix in the Western Conference. So many important matches still to come. And of course, it's a big night tonight in the USL Championship. The live scores in the USL Championship are brought to you by the Charleston Airport. The Florida Derby is still 1-0 to the Rowdies. El Paso and Loudoun leading on the road, and Oakland has taken the lead at Lynn Family as well.
San Antonio against Pittsburgh will be a really exciting matchup in the next 30 minutes. And Indy 11 down 1-0 to Loudoun United. Loudoun taking advantage of Indy playing in a midweek game on Wednesday night.
And of course, San Diego still have plenty of opportunities to make this season memorable. It's 0-0 between them and RGV in Texas at the moment. Again, every game means so much down the stretch of this USL Championship campaign, including this one, the Battery leading Memphis in the rematch by a 0-0 at the half. We'll have highlights, stats, and the second half kick from South Carolina coming up next.
The estimated hold time is now 96 minutes.
Sorry, are you still there?
Yes.
Okay, please hold.
Google, turn up the heat.
Charleston is located in the Low Country of South Carolina.
The history here, it runs deep, and you can't imagine being anyplace else.
This place is magical.
Sean St. Jacques, Anna Whitty back here with you. Charleston on top of Memphis at the half by a 0-0. Beto Avila's goal in the 17th minute has the hosts in front for now. Big second half still to come. We begin here by reviewing the first half highlights, and we jump right to the goal in the 17th minute.
Avila picking up the ball in a perfect spot in the wide areas where Memphis doesn't have numbers back defensively. Avila's so good on the ball in transition, able to slot this one home. However, it didn't stop from there for Memphis. The way that they were able to outpossess Charleston in the first half, 56 to 44% possession. They started to build up in transition and find themselves a little bit closer to goal. Memphis did a really good job of, as this game went on, finding themselves in the 18 and really looking for opportunities, high percentage opportunities, dribbling into areas that Charleston wasn't organized defensively. A great shot from Malloy out of the midfield. He sees that nobody is around him, looking to close down that space, just isn't able to hit this one home. And they continue to dribble into the middle of the field. Just didn't find too many opportunities until the end of the first half, really trying to test this Charleston back line by holding onto the ball once they get into the attacking third. McFadden in the wide areas defensively has been massive for Memphis into the attack. He has the ability in transition to get back defensively and also pick up the ball in the attacking third and put balls inside the box. That's where Charleston is going to have to look to take more advantage of, is when McFadden is high pressed, look into the wide areas that he leaves on the left side of the field. And Barajas picking up the ball, picking up his head, a really nice shot, but had more of a chance from the wide areas. And Memphis with the last chance in this match that they're looking to kind of ride that momentum in the second half. DaCosta off the post, unlucky not to find the back of the net because it was a perfectly placed ball from McFadden in the wide areas.
Ton of chances. We look at the halftime stats brought to you by Heineken. 3 shots on target between the two teams, 13 shots in total between these two, but just the one goal from Avila, who's been the most clinical.
The possession's really lopsided. Charleston's the team that really likes to hang on to the ball. However, the amount of time in possession Memphis had in the attacking third shows that 56% is right. 8 shots to Charleston's 5, and Charleston is a little bit more clinical. Once they get to the final third, Memphis is going to have to really fix that final piece once they get to the 18.
Massive second half for both teams. We talked about this at the top. Charleston, if this result holds, they would go 8 points clear of Memphis 901 in that third spot. Again, Memphis would still have 2 games in hand. But even if they were to win them, Charleston would stay ahead of Memphis 901 in that third spot. So that's why it's crucial for the Battery. For Memphis, they would get a jump start on catching Charleston if they could come from behind and win, because they would get within just 2 points with 2 games in hand if they're able to come from behind and get 3 points in this rematch of a crazy 3-2 game that these two played back in June. Of course, Ben Pierman and the Battery looking for some revenge after losing that game in Memphis. So far, so good for the Battery, but we've seen some bright spots from Memphis as well, just not as clinical in the final third.
Memphis looking to find themselves in transition. Coming off of a midweek game, they don't have the fresh legs that the Battery have, especially on the road. So being mentally locked in is leading to opportunities for themselves. The end of the first half, Charleston defensively has to be aware of how Memphis is trying to go, and it's really been down the middle of the pitch, but also from chances from McFadden in the wide right area.
And of course, since we updated you on scores from other places, it's just par for the course. 2 other goals have happened in the other games going on. Indy have equalized against Loudoun with 15 minutes left. It's 1-1. And El Paso have added a second against Hartford. They lead in Connecticut by 2-0. Our goal scorer here, Avila, will get the second half started. Charleston will kick from right to left in the second half on ESPN+. And the second half is underway. Can the Battery hold on to their lead, maybe build onto it? Or will we see Memphis come from behind in the second half? Only time will tell. What we can tell you is that there's likely going to be a lot of chances and a lot of action and maybe some drama sprinkled in the second half in Patriots Point.
That's what we're here for, the drama. On a Saturday night, it's perfect with 2 teams in the middle of the table looking to take home a win that could solidify themselves in the playoffs.
Both of these teams are close to clinching a playoff spot outright. Of course, Pittsburgh could actually clinch tonight if results go their way. I think they need a couple of results to go in their favor. Memphis back on the attack here. Same 11s for both teams at the start of the second half as Aaron Malloy assesses his options, finds McFadden on the near side. Let's see if Memphis can find an early equalizing goal that could totally change the trajectory of the match.
Memphis already picking up where they left off in the first half, possessing and keeping the ball in Charleston's back half, being patient and waiting to break that final line.
Turchi able to slide that through. Ward for Paul. Malloy. Luis Fernando was pulled back. That's a shirt pull by Declan Wynn, who pleads his case with Nabil Ben Salah, our center official. Not sure what his case was there. Pretty clear that he held onto the shirt, and it's a free kick.
Charleston getting frustrated defensively. Memphis has changed their tactic now in the attacking third. It's more possession, and that's making Charleston have to make smarter decisions and not play off of the fly when stepping into a position that was unnecessary to win the ball.
It's going to be Turchi and Malloy, it looks like, that'll stay over this. Weston Paul was in the area. He's stepped away. What can Memphis come up with from this set-piece chance? It is going to be Turchi who strikes. Oh, it nearly slipped through, but Muse holds on to it.
Great save by Muse, who had his view obstructed by the wall, getting to his left side and getting low so quickly. Watches Turchi, hits it with his laces, so it has power behind it, but Muse reads it so well, is able to not only keep that out of the back of the net, but hop on it and keep it underneath himself.
Bit of a heart in throat moment there from a Charleston point of view. It was a pretty venomous strike from Turchi. Made Trey Muse have to think about it. Malloy under pressure. This is where the Battery have been at their best. They win the ball back high up the field. Ikaza keeps it alive for Wynn. The Battery can reset. Only for a moment, though. It's won back by DaCosta. And Fernando dispossessed by Allen. The ball was sent down the line, but there was a late challenge that came flying in. And it is going to be a Memphis free kick. Charleston
trying to press high and win the ball off of Memphis's back line. There's just a little too much, and Charleston's getting frustrated. They've only dominated 40% of the possession now, haven't lived on the ball at all in the second half. That's something that makes this Battery side really uncomfortable, and Memphis has done a good job of taking away that option for them.
Turchi for Paul. Able to find Kisiedu. Ward back to Kisiedu. Haven't called his name too many times tonight, Laurent Kisiedu. Malloy. Asked for Fernando to come back and help. A little give and go between those two. Now Paul. Nice little flick by Kisiedu. Little dummy as well. Ward keeps it alive. He sends it into the penalty area. Archer and then Traeger able to clear the lines. It's a lovely turn from Avila. The Battery looking to break on the other end. Avila was fouled. Referee plays advantage. Barajas. Allen's in the middle. Traeger's in the middle. And it's Ikaza. He lets it run past him. It's going to be Memphis to win back possession. Kelly. Kisiedu. And Charleston a little bit stretched here. They're able to get back into a relatively comfortable position. McFadden heads it down, but nobody there in a white shirt.
A lot of transition from both sides. Charleston starting to slow down this game. Traeger was able to win the ball, and it doesn't want to go out too quickly because Memphis does have that momentum, looking to win it back. Memphis does a great job in their build-up and is starting to possess a little bit better, but the passing isn't too purposeful when it comes to trying to get towards goal. Charleston is able to stay really strong structurally. Their communication is good, and the passing isn't throwing off Charleston's back line.
Oh, Malloy had it back for a moment, but in the end, it's a recycle of a possession for Memphis. Battery have a brand new look on and off the field this year, thanks to Hummel, the club's official jersey provider. Check out the full line of new Battery gear, including the custom 2023 primary, secondary, and alternate kits by visiting shop.charlestonbattery.com. Sean St. Jacques, Anna Whitty, our entire crew, appreciate you having us for company tonight. It's been a wild night of USL Championship action already, and there's likely to be a few more twists and turns in this match. Leston Paul is fouled, and it's a free kick.
Malloy trying the restart really quickly. Charleston's been doing a lot of chasing, and Malloy wants to get going right away because they've had so much momentum and so much positive play in the attacking third.
Allen, see what he was trying to do, but it was Kisiedu who picked his pocket. Here's Ward. Back for Laurent Kisiedu. Lovely little skill to get past Markanek. But Traeger tries to pick up the pieces for Charleston, but McFadden has it now for Memphis. Malloy. First touch was a little firm, but it falls for McFadden. And then Kisiedu left it behind. Now Avila, a couple of nice turns. It's a fair challenge, but Allen helps it along here. And the Battery could be in behind. Markanek into the middle. Barajas has his cross blocked out for a Battery corner.
Barajas had no option centrally because Memphis does a good job of taking off that line. That is the final line to find that player centrally. Barajas making a great streaking run, but that initial first touch isn't towards goal, and that takes away his chances to finish. Watch as Barajas stays wide. This is the no foul. Referee said no foul on both sides. Barajas stays in a wide position and does a good job of taking it inside, but no Charleston players continue to follow him. And Memphis does a good job of getting set defensively to see that one out.
Barajas will take the corner. Charleston in search of a second goal here. Barajas whips it in. He's headed away before Romig could parry it out of trouble. Allen services it back in. McFadden's header allows Memphis to clear their lines. And maybe counterattack here. Kisiedu leads the break. White shirts flooding forward here for Memphis, including Luis Fernando, who's crossed into the middle. His block. Was there a handball in there? Appeals from Memphis. It's not given. And Malloy has to recycle. Kisiedu lines up a potential shot, maybe waited too long. Great fight to win the ball back. Here's McFadden. McFadden's ball across, looking for DaCosta. And it is cleared, but not definitively. Malloy, Leston Paul. Back out wide, Fernando. Paul is brought down by Ikaza, free kick.
Charleston is so sound defensively, and it's that final piece where they don't even have to win the ball that gets them tripped up. Watch as this ball gets played back. Memphis is facing their own goal. There is no opportunity and no reason that Ikaza needs to win the ball in the moment. Just continue to move your feet. This now sets up a great opportunity for Memphis just outside the 18. Ikaza getting stuck and getting a little frustrated in that moment, because it is nervy when Memphis is continuing to move the ball among the back line, but you have to stay disciplined defensively.
Well, the two suspects you'd expect to be over this ball, DaCosta and Malloy, talking it over. As the four men in the wall for Charleston are backed up. Two absolute magicians when it comes to set pieces. This does feel more like Aaron Malloy territory. We will see. Abil Ben Salah making sure everyone is well positioned, with Memphis in search of an equalizing goal. He's going to be Aaron Malloy, tries to go under the wall, gets it back, goes over the wall, and over the goal, off the glove of Muse in the end, and it's a corner. He got two chances at it, the Irishman.
Malloy takes his first opportunity as watches this ball gets dropped back into his space, able to hit it over the ball, but Muse does a good job of just getting a fingertip on it to help it over the crossbar.
Memphis will settle for the corner. Malloy whips it in, and it's dealt with by Charleston, but again, not definitively cleared. Leston Paul picks it back up. Memphis will push again. But this time the ball floated in. He's too strong from Jeremy Kelly. And Muse clears. Now can Charleston come the other way? Great control from Barajas, but good recovery on the backside, and Memphis can reset.
Great idea from Barajas, trying to get out quickly. It's Memphis who understands how to track back, how to win that ball, and then to keep possession, because Charleston's really struggled with the clearances. And these are the big opportunities for Memphis to try and slot one home before Charleston starts to find their groove again defensively, and then also in the attack.
And again, it goes back and forth on this near side. Juan Sebastian Palma was brought down. Looks like it'll be a chance for the Battery to take a breath. It's been a strong start for Memphis in this second half, but again, no reward for that strong start.
Charleston's been very good defensively and just kept their back line so good in the three backs. And then it also allows Barajas, Dodson, Allen drops off defensively. There's so many people that are helping Charleston's back line, but Memphis has to find that final piece inside the 6 to test Muse.
Was that a push in the back? Yes, it was. Graham Smith gives away a free kick. Another thing that's worth mentioning tonight, and there's a long way to go, still have half an hour and change left, but a win for Charleston, if they can hold on to it, would be Ben Pierman's 50th regular season win in his USL Championship career. Right now he has 49 wins in what is tonight his 96th regular season game as a coach, and there could be some fireworks here. Yellow card is out. Tempers fraying a little bit here. We missed who the yellow card was for, but Malloy was taken out, it looks like. We get another look at the replay.
Malloy and Avila gets taken down defensively. Not able to see that last piece, which led to Malloy on the ground, but Avila getting the yellow card, clearly frustrated by the way Malloy gets into that tackle from behind.
It is the goal scorer, Beto Avila, who sees a Sphinx Convenience Store's yellow card. And Malloy got the worst of it as we hit the hour mark. This game is still very much on a knife edge. Any big moment could really dictate how the game ends, and you could feel the energy, the passion, how much this game means to both teams, not just for the standings. Again, we talked about it. Ben Pierman against his former club, Stephen Glass, who took over, has made Memphis a contender once again.
Memphis has had opportunities after opportunities to find the back of the net. With the way that they've dominated possession, with 60% of the ball, have found themselves in the final third, the majority of the second half. For Memphis, it would be disappointing for them if they can't find a point in this match because of how threatening they've been against Charleston's back line.
Can't watch the match? Turn on Sirius XM FC 157, North America's 24/7 source for engaging soccer talk. USL All Access Tuesday nights at 7 Eastern, plus your live matches from the USL, MLS, English Premier League, and more on Sirius XM FC 157 and the SXM app. While we were letting you know about that, the referees were convening during that last sequence. I think it's just going to be an Avila yellow. Of course, Memphis had a yellow card go Stephen Glass and his staff's way in the first half. It appears that's going to be it. Just a talking to, and we get back to live action. And now the Battery could be in for a second goal here. But it is skied in the end by Fidel Barajas.
Barajas is the main target for Charleston, cutting that ball inside, just not getting himself over that ball. Again, getting too much of his toe underneath it. He's found himself and done the hard work. It's that final piece and the easy work for Barajas that he just can't get down in this match.
Offside flag is up against Memphis on this near side. And in the meantime, we're going to see the first two changes of the night. They're going to be for Charleston. Augie Williams, he's going to come on for Beto Avila. One goal scorer comes on for another. And Andrew Booth, another very important player for the Battery. He's also going to come on. Emilio Icaza, we're told, he's going to come off.
Williams, with 10 goals this season, comes onto the pitch in the final 30 minutes with fresh legs, but also an understanding of how he can break down this Memphis back line. Charleston has only had their opportunities in transition. Williams brings pace up top, experience, and a really good knack for finding the back of the net.
Andrew Booth's had some big moments, both attacking and defensively this season for Charleston. But of course, anytime Augie Williams steps on the pitch, he immediately becomes one of the more dangerous attacking players.
Williams brings that experience, has been a major leader for this Charleston side that's still so young. Williams only 26 years old, but has the upper hand when it comes to age. And Coach Pierman spoke about how Williams prepares his body and prepares himself mentally for such a long season. And so many players on this Battery side have learned from him and have been able to get results themselves because of how Williams approaches the game.
Well, DaCosta thought that he was tripped up, trying to keep possession there. Referee allows play to continue. Charleston in possession. Dotson thinks better of it and resets. Just took a peek at the expected goals throughout the match. It's Memphis that's leading in that category, 0.78. The Battery with just 0.33 so far. So Memphis have been the more likely, but haven't scored.
Memphis with 11 shots, Charleston with only 6. Memphis with the build-up play, looking for their opportunities. Charleston has noticed they're not going to look to outpossess Memphis anymore because of how confident they've been on the ball of late and how Memphis has numbers up centrally with how Malloy and Kelly have dominated the possession. Now Charleston just looking for those moments over the top when they're there.
One thing that's been really big for Charleston this season as well has been clean sheets. And Pierman's talked about it on multiple occasions. They didn't get one last time out against Orange County. Of course, they want the win, more important than the clean sheet, but a clean sheet goes such a long way. Multiple coaches have talked about how important it is because a clean sheet, of course, keeps you in the game regardless. And it's going to be a foul and a yellow card. Nick Markanek sees yellow.
Markanek staying with Ward the entire time he has the ball. Watch as Ward takes the ball centrally and Markanek just continues to go. He sees that Ward has beat him around the corner and Markanek just holding on to Ward too much. Pretty soft yellow card. Didn't get in too dirty. However, Markanek has been stuck into a few different plays as this match has worn on.
So Markanek with the yellow card, brought to you by Sphinx Convenience Stores. Memphis made a sub during all that. Kisiedu comes off, and it's Knight Pickering who comes on for Memphis. Very talented youngster from Memphis 901 FC. One of Pickering's notable moments this season was scoring against Atlanta United in the Open Cup MLS side. It was actually the first ever win over an MLS side for Memphis in their club's history. He scored the winning goal. Former U.S. Under-19 youth national team call-up as well for him. And of course, had I believe he had a SportsCenter top 10 play goal last season, Knight Pickering.
Pickering, the youngest signing for this Memphis side, playing in such a crucial role on the field right now in the wide areas where Memphis is trying to get the ball and get out and continue to pass in the build-up. Pickering bringing fresh legs, experience in this Memphis side, and how Memphis is trying to play. Pickering's gonna try and stay on the touchline, stay wide, and an option out through the midfield.
Despite all of the Memphis attempts, Charleston's done well to manage the game so far in the second half, but is one goal going to be enough against this high-powered attack that Memphis 901 brings to the table? One back by Booth. Battery have some numbers here, and Booth trying to thread it through for Williams, but the pass was cut out. A little bit of a push in the back there. Referee spots it. Wynn concedes a free kick.
Wynn too physical, trying to win that ball, knowing that if the Memphis side does get the ball, he's out in transition in the wide areas. Wynn would have to sprint back. In this game, getting very physical. It's a two-hand shove from behind and a clear foul into Memphis' favor.
That might have been more of a yellow card than the Markanek challenge.
I completely agree. I don't really see that Markanek yellow. But the refs have their reasoning sometimes, you know?
Here's Markanek. Was he stopped there? Referee says he was stopped fairly. Markanek stays down. Memphis get on with it here, as they have every right to. Almost threaded in behind here. Maybe a chance for Kelly. Kelly lays it off. It's Aaron Malloy, blocked on the edge of the penalty area by Andrew Booth. And now Williams with the hold-up play. Booth's played in. Williams continued his run. Williams is played in, he's offside. That ball needed to be played maybe, and you could see Williams gesturing, needed to be a little bit quicker. And in the end, it was a late pass, and Williams was offside.
Not only is Williams offside, but Markanek is offsides on the far side as well. Too many numbers for Charleston, trying to go out too quickly. Memphis realizing that, stepping their line and catching Battery in a bad spot.
You could see Williams calling for it immediately when he knew he was onside. By the time he got it, it was too late. told that Charleston are going to go back to the bench here, possibly a couple of changes in the offing. Let's see there, Arturo Rodriguez, formerly of Phoenix Rising. He's getting set. Pierre Reedy also getting ready to come on for the Battery. Looks like it's going to be Rodriguez first. Beg your pardon, Reedy will come on first. Tristan Traeger, he's going to come off. And that is going to be it for Fidel Barajas as well. Well, that man has a very bright future ahead of him, Fidel Barajas.
Charleston asked a lot of Barajas in this match. The only real outlet in 60 minutes of play until Williams stepped on the pitch. Barajas can do the running. He can be that target. However, he doesn't have all the experience and all the intangibles to be that final piece. There has to be numbers around him, and Charleston just couldn't provide that for him tonight.
A job well done for Barajas, despite maybe some frustrations, but he exits. Traeger off as well. Reedy comes on. And we'll also get to see Arturo Rodriguez, who's been a nice depth piece for Charleston. Leston Paul out wide. Just under 20 minutes left. Beno Avila's goal back in the 17th minute is still enough at the moment for all 3 points for the Battery. Memphis continue to push. 4-game unbeaten run at stake for Memphis. 3rd place at stake overall for both teams. Looks like Tampa Bay has beaten Miami. Took a 2-0 lead in the latter stages of that game. That game has gone final. The Rowdies trying to push for that top spot. Currently occupied by the Riverhounds of Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh just kicked off against San Antonio in Texas. Of course, the other big game in the East to look out for, Lou City trailing Oakland at home by a 1-0 with about 25 minutes left at Lynn Family.
Lou City would be bumped into that 6th spot. However, with Tampa Bay getting the win and Pittsburgh just a few points that solidifies them in that 1st spot right now, would put Charleston in that 3rd spot still if they can get that win here tonight. Charleston has to see it out, though. They have to find a way to be more consistent and live on the ball a little bit more in this game, to not allow it to get out of their hands. Memphis did a great job at the end of the 1st half, making themselves a massive threat in and around the area. And that's what Charleston is going to have to really mentally lock in these last few remaining games, and making sure defensively that they're tracking back, their midfield is in the right spot, and so are their outside backs.
And wow, Lou City dropping to 6th place is quite a story. Part of that's because Indy 11 came back to take care of business, and here the flag is up against Nick Markanek. The attack fizzles out again for the Battery due to the offside flag.
Markanek trying to make a run inside, being really dynamic. However, Memphis center back notices it and just lets him go as soon as that ball is played. Markanek and Williams are going to continue to press that Memphis line, but also have to be aware and continue to check their shoulders before they go.
Palma able to spin out of trouble. Williams back for Booth. Booth again, that was a bit of a dangerous pass. Allen is there to clean it up. We talked with Ben Pierman about what was going to be important tonight, what kind of adjustments they needed to make from the Orange County game. And Ben Pierman said that Memphis can be open at times. We have to create more chances, and they did that in the 1st half, but I have to give Memphis credit. They've been the ones dictating the tempo and the game in the 2nd half, but the scoreline remains unchanged.
Charleston seeing this game through and just allowing Memphis to dominate the possession a little bit more, but really wearing them out once they get into the final 3rd. Memphis getting frustrated because they can't break through Charleston. The options are a little bit lower for Memphis because Charleston is dropping back so many numbers defensively. They have to be a little bit more confident from shooting outside the area.
Paul up ahead. Nice little maneuver by Kelly. DaCosta in for Fernando. It's beautiful from Memphis, but the offside flag is up. Flag is up, goal does not count. It was an absolutely gorgeous passage of play from Memphis here. This is going to be worth another look on the replay.
Fernando just a few steps offside. It is so close. As Charleston tracks back, he notices that the runner is on his left side. Fernando just inching himself in, and it's such a tight call.
It is very tight, but I do think it's the right call, but only just.
Barely, by a hair. And it's well read by the Charleston center back, knowing that if he makes that initial step and allows Fernando to continue to go, he's trusting the players on his left and his right to make the step as well. And it works in their favor this time.
Well, Memphis have had some amazing team goals these last couple of seasons. That was nearly another absolutely immaculate passage of play. But the offside flag denies Memphis, just like it did Charleston moments earlier. And that leads us into a second half hydro break. Chance to reset.
You can see Coach Piran talking to his center backs and pointing at them to be a little bit tighter together, to not allow those opportunities to penetrate in between them. Memphis was using the wide areas and Charleston was okay with that, but now that Memphis has found that slot in behind centrally, that's where it gets nerdy for the Battery. Watches Fernando, number 9 in white. He's making that run inside, and as soon as that ball is played, the center back just continues to slow his run to allow Fernando to be offside. Good call by the referee. He makes a similar call on the other side of the pitch. You have to do the same for Memphis.
This hydration break is brought to you by Recover 180. This game has a ton riding on it, no question about that. The Battery looking for some retribution from the loss in Memphis back in June. Memphis want to make it a clean sweep over the Battery. Does look like Memphis is going to make a couple of changes here. Rashawn Dolly has come on, along with Dylan Borzak, it appears. And Memphis, in that process, takes off Luis Fernando. So that's his last act of the game. And Rodrigo DaCosta is going to come off as well. So Borzak on for Fernando, Rashawn Dolly on for DaCosta. And now some hesitation from Romig, nearly allows Augie Williams to get in behind. In the end, it's just a chance for Charleston to reset with Booth. Booth plays in the ball in behind. Couple of looks for the offside flag. Romig cleans it up. So it's a moot point. Lovely first touch by Muse, and he clears.
Great touch by the goalkeeper to step out of his box as there's a attacker coming towards him to bring it down cleanly and allow Charleston a fairly quick restart.
The two substitutes, Rodriguez and Reedy, interacting. Still Arturo Rodriguez, he runs out of space. Referee allows play to continue. Reedy into the middle, and Memphis deals with it defensively. Can they counterattack here, Memphis 901? Beautiful switch of the play to that far side. Ball played centrally. Borzak making the run. Dolly couldn't find him. And then the offside flag is up again, this time against Borzak.
Borzak just coming from an offside position to try and pull down that ball from Memphis. Borzak not staying in too wide. He's drifting a little bit more centrally, which makes it easier for an outside back to defend him. So if he continues to get into the wide areas, that's that pocket in between the center back and the outside back that he can exploit, or a center forward like Dolly can exploit.
"11 minutes and change plus stoppage time left. And all three results are still in play here. Williams puts the pressure on Memphis's back line and forces an errant pass. That is a foul. It is a free kick. It's a yellow card as well. Graham Smith has his name taken by Nabil Ben Salah, and it's a Charleston Battery free kick.
Smith stepping off the back line to step into that tackle against Charleston, wanting to win it higher and to help his midfield as Malloy's trying to come over to slow it down. Watches Smith, he gets turned and he goes down with his left foot instead of his right foot, so he gets a little too much of the player.
It's a Sphinx Convenience Store's yellow card. 10 minutes left. There was a little bit of afters there between Malloy and Rodriguez. I was surprised that that wasn't addressed by the referee, or maybe that's what the discussion is at the moment.
There's been a lot of chippy play as this game wears down. Double yellow.
It's a yellow card for Stephen Glass. Was he booked earlier? Maybe it was just the Memphis bench. Because if it was him, that should be a double yellow and a sending off. It doesn't appear that that's happened, though. Might have been one of the assistants for Memphis that was booked in the first half. But that's being discussed, I think, at the moment. Ben Pierman's wondering what's going on. And we're being told that it's confirmation is being needed here, so we'll wait to see. Lee Viedman, former OKC Energy head coach back in the day, now on Ben Pierman's staff, also asking the question here. And it was the follow-through between Rodriguez and Malloy that was being looked at, and the yellow was shown to Stephen Glass. It's about what happened in the first half there. Ben Pierman looks on with Charleston on the attack. A little bit too far in the end, looking for Leland Archer. Cleared by Borzak. Booth. And now we've just been told that both Stephen Glass and Ben Pierman were both booked. But again, that goes back to who was booked in the first half. On Memphis's bench, it must have been an assistant, or Stephen Glass would be sent off.
Both sides, and Perlman and Glass, Pierman rather, have to be very careful as this game starts to wind down, knowing how the referee is giving away cards, and it's getting very physical, so picking and choosing their battles to talk to the referee.
Pickering, into the middle. Dolly wasn't ready for it. Muse corrals it for the Battery. There's still time for a few more late twists and turns in this one. Memphis had a goal ruled out for offside. Luis Fernando is not able to quite time his run up to perfection. It's been the closest Memphis have come. And the Battery haven't really done a ton offensively, but they've managed the game well for the most part in this second half.
Memphis haven't found themselves too dangerous in the attacking third or gotten many opportunities to touch the ball inside Charleston's 18. Charleston's really been happy with that, and it's allowed them to be more set defensively.
This ball's played in behind. I think Borzak was onside, but it's Dolly who went for it, and he's offside.
Two players from Memphis going for that ball. Has to be communicating that one.
One of the Battery's leaders, AJ Patterson, is going to come on, and that is going to be the end of the night for Declan Wynn. Like for like change for Charleston as they try to get this performance and these 3 points over the line. Malloy. To the far side, Ward. Trying to poke that through. Goes out for a throw after Dotson had it covered. Malloy. Leston Paul, 6 minutes left plus stoppage time. And in the end, Paul tried to find McFadden. Too close to Muse in the end. Muse collapses, quite literally, on top of the ball.
Charleston killing time right now that they're in possession. Muse just wants his entire team to step up, wants to clear this one high and wide. If you're Charleston, though, and a team that likes to possess, this is an opportunity just to pass it and connect a few passes and find some confidence. Not necessarily looking for a goal, but to keep it away from Memphis and try to make them chase.
Do Memphis have a few more ideas up their sleeves, or are the Battery going to see this out? Markanek in behind. Oh, Augie Williams just needed a touch on it. He lets it run past his boot. It's been the way Charleston have created so many of their opportunities in transition. That one goes by the wayside. Now a chance here, Borzak. Dolly into the middle looking for Borzak, and it's cut out. And Dotson clears for Charleston. It's a really good ball onto this far side. Markanek is onside for Charleston. Augie Williams in the middle. Rodriguez is in the middle as well. Can Charleston create something from this? It's threaded through. It's Arturo Rodriguez, and it's saved by Romig.
Few too many touches for Markanek. And trying to find an option inside the box allows Memphis numbers to track back, but Markanek does a good job. He picks up his eyes. He sees Rodriguez is all by himself on the far post. Rodriguez just continues to drag that ball into traffic, and as he feels that pressure in Malloy, he knows he has to shoot it. Much better from Charleston now that they're living on the ball a little bit more and finding some confidence in the passing, using their midfield and getting them way more involved instead of kicking the ball over their head.
Seems like when the Battery been at their best in the attack tonight, they've almost just allowed Memphis to play their way through until they can win the ball back, and then all of a sudden, all bets are off. They go and attack.
Charleston knows that they have pace up top with Williams, who has fresh legs, Breedy, Markanek, who's done a great job of really testing this Memphis line. Charleston's back line has proven to be so consistently strong and something that they continue to grow on no matter the result in this match because of how much they've been able to slow down Memphis, whether that's in transition or that's in possession.
McFadden's open on this near side. He does get the ball. McFadden with a reverse pass to get Kelly involved. Kelly was almost dispossessed by Rodriguez. He nearly threads the ball through. And for Dolly, in the end it's played past not one but two defenders. And then it's a late challenge by Kelly. And it's a free kick for Charleston.
Kelly trying to win the ball back and keep the ball in the attacking third for Memphis again. He's been that piece for Memphis all game long. As Charleston does a good job of Markanek just trying to keep it. The last touch by Kelly does get on the ball. Just a little touch on Markanek as well.
It is a Charleston free kick. It's a Memphis substitution. Bruno Lapa, he's going to come on, and Graham Smith, the only Memphis player sitting on a yellow card, he's taken off with 2 minutes of the 90 left.
The amount of yellow cards we saw tonight, it's crazy to think only one Memphis player received a yellow. It's been pretty physical both sides. Charleston getting stuck in and really trying to see this one out.
Yeah, 3 bookings for Charleston in the game tonight. Avila and Barajas have since been substituted, and then Markanek was also booked for his challenge on Leston Paul earlier. Ball is sent down the far side. Markanek loses out in the end to Turchi. And Turchi comes out with the ball. But Memphis are starting to run out of time here as we approach the 90th minute. Malloy. Beautiful pass to Lapa. Lapa's first touch is a bit heavy. He gets himself out of trouble. Lovely switch of play onto this far side. Ward. curling it into the penalty area. Reedy is there for the Battery defensively. Rodriguez wins a free kick. Maybe sold it a little bit there. But Charleston won't care, as they can use some clock and they get some possession on top of it. Ben Pierman is irate about something on the near side. Can't get those new shoes dirty, Ben.
Absolutely not, but he's frustrated. Pierman's frustrated by how Lapa steps into that tackle. He wants a card as well, and it's just been so back and forth. Ref picking and choosing his moments to call fouls and solidify himself in this match, but Lapa stepping off his back line really high, and that's Memphis trying to keep this ball locked in the attack.
There you go, 7 minutes of stoppage time still to play. Long way to go. Brought to you by MUSC Health, Sports Medicine. Can Charleston finish this off here? Rodriguez has Booth for company. Booth doesn't have many options. Tries to find Allen, but Memphis wins it back. Although the Battery collapsed on it quickly. Patterson for Booth. Booth does everything he can to hold on to it, and he does. Kelly fouls him, and it's a free kick. Well, it feels like it's going to be knockdown, drag out over these last 7 minutes. Still something to play for Memphis, no question, but Charleston are not going to let the 3 points get ripped away from them without a fight.
Kelly's been the big piece that's stepping in for Memphis and getting stuck in a lot of these tackles. Charleston's recognized that and allowing him to step in, trying to bring the ball down centrally and then connect some passes, and Memphis has struggled.
Williams just tried to shoot that ball through. Rodriguez keeps it alive for Augie Williams. Right down the middle for Romig. And Memphis survived for now. Anytime he gets the ball, whether he's in space or not, he is a threat, Augie Williams.
Memphis has to recognize that. This Memphis side has really struggled to clear the ball off their defensive line. Williams is not a player you want to mess around with.
Dotson nearly found some space in behind of Memphis there. And it's a poor clearance, gives it right back to Charleston. And Trey Muse is going to use up every bit of grass he has available to him before picking the ball up. Five minutes left to manage for the Battery. And if it holds, Charleston will be 8 points clear of Memphis for third place in the East, despite Memphis's 2 games in hand. Lapa keeps that ball in play, but too far, and Trey Muse clears. Ends up keeping it alive, and it's a lovely little flick by Williams. But Rodriguez loses out and concedes a free kick. That nearly came together beautifully for Charleston down this near side.
Memphis stepping in at the right time as well to win that ball. This Charleston side's done a great job defensively in transition. It started in possession where Memphis were trying to find their opportunities. Now it's over the top. Muse has been a big piece of that. He's drawing this Memphis attack into him, hopping on the ball and allowing this side to kill some time.
But Memphis keep fighting. Ball threaded into the penalty area. Reedy in traffic. Clears it away only as far as Malloy. McFadden gets it back for Memphis on this near side. Eden McFadden threading it through. A little give and go, but Reedy wins the ball and wins a free kick.
Reedy tracking all the way back defensively, because this Charleston side wants to kill time, using as many numbers as they can defensively to slow down Memphis, whether that's out wide, down the middle of the pitch. Memphis just haven't found that spark plug to get them past this Charleston side.
Williams gives it right back to Memphis. Ben Pierman talked about the first game between these two. He said it was tough. It was one of our best games of the season, he thought, but a couple of mistakes hurt them in the end. But he said overall we dominated from start to finish in that game. He says since then it's about improving, continuing to be prepared, and they are 2.5 minutes away for getting some revenge on Memphis for that game back in June.
Charleston learned a lot from themselves defensively in the last time they faced Memphis, knowing that they have a lot of star power and that this Charleston side was going to have to play in a double pivot to keep Malloy and to keep Kelly at bay. That game plan worked so well from the Battery because we've seen Memphis in possession, we've seen good build-up play, we've seen transition moments, and Battery has handled all of it very flawlessly.
Battery, if they hold on as well, would be within 1 point of the Rowdies, who are in second. Of course, Tampa Bay does have 2 games in hand on Ben Pierman's group as well. They would get closer to clinching a playoff spot and get closer to home field advantage in the first round of the playoffs, but they're still defending to do here. Memphis still going for it. The cross in from Ward is held again by Muse. And with just over a minute left, not going to be many more chances now for Memphis.
Charleston now looking just to clear this ball and kill some time in the attacking third. Memphis had to be a little bit more clinical once they got the ball in the attacking third if they wanted to score. And well done by Charleston again, just to slow down those options in the wide areas.
If it holds, again, there's a minute left, but it would end a 4-game unbeaten run for Memphis.
Memphis had 12 shots in this match. Muse has only had to face 3 of them. Well done by Charleston's back line, just to keep Memphis at bay. Allow them to take those shots and those opportunities, but don't allow them in threatening areas where they can create goal-scoring chances.
Of course, that game back on June 24th was also Memphis's 12th win in a row during that incredible franchise record winning streak. But it looks like it is going to be Charleston's night, barring some late magic from Memphis here. Final seconds. Stephen Glass's boys have to get this forward. It's played to this near side. Lapa back for McFadden. Last chance saloon for Memphis here. It's flared in. And Muse, great catch in traffic. And that's how the match ends in the Low Country. Charleston hold on for a 1-0 victory. They get their revenge on Memphis for the loss back on June 24th. Ben Pierman gets his old side back here in South Carolina. A hard-fought win that sees the Battery go 8 points clear of Memphis for 3rd place in the East.
Charleston does a great job of exploiting a really good goal-scoring opportunity to find the back of the net in the first half, and then keeping Memphis at bay in the second half, not allowing them to be much of a threat. Avella with a really good touch towards goal, does it all by himself, and nothing that Memphis could have done defensively once he beat his initial defender. Charleston then continued to sit back defensively and allow Memphis to come to them. A lot of great defensive teamwork by this Charleston side to keep Memphis at bay at home. Also, a clean sheet for Charleston is a massive, massive bonus point to a win at home.
Avila is our man of the match, brought to you by Heineken. His goal, enough for all 3 points in the end after another thrilling contest in the Eastern Conference of the USL Championship. Final score is brought to you by Wicked Weed. Charleston gets Memphis back for the loss back in June. They win it by a 0-0 in the Low Country tonight. We'll be back after this to wrap it up from South Carolina.
Think big. Something life-changing. I'm talking education. Let's get inventive. Blow things up in a good way. Do it for 20 years? Wake up and education has received billions in funding. Who does all this? If you've ever played one of these or these, that would be you. Yeah, thank you.
Charleston is located in the Low Country of South Carolina.
history here, it runs deep, and you can't imagine being anyplace else.
This place is magical.
Final score in the Low Country tonight is brought to you by Wicked Weed. Charleston 1, Memphis 0. Huge win for Ben Peterman and the Charleston Battery to solidify their spot in third place of the USL Championship, looking up at the likes of the Rowdies and the Riverhounds in the top 2 spots. Full-time highlights are brought to you by Bud Light. Beto Avila's goal in the 17th minute was enough in the end for all 3 Charleston points.
Charleston taking advantage of the wide areas where they could exploit Memphis, trying to go in transition. Avila beating his defender with a great touch initially inside and then finding near post. After this goal from Charleston, they just sat back and allowed Memphis to dominate the possession. Charleston with only 9 shots, Memphis with 12 shots. However, none of this Memphis side shots were really threatening Muse, only having to come up with 3 massive saves. Malloy with a great shot that initially goes into the wall. Charleston sitting so many numbers back defensively, playing in a 3-back. But their 2 wingbacks would drop back often, and so would the 2 double pivot 6s to help hold off this Memphis side. Fernando just has too many steps offside. Well done by this Charleston back line to be playing high, knowing that Memphis, when they got the ball centrally, they would want to go straight to goal. Memphis got frustrated several times. Charleston took advantage of that in transition, found their moments. It was just too many touches in and around the 18 where they couldn't get Williams or Rodriguez involved at the right time. Charleston does a good job to get a clean sheet and a win at home to get them 3 points to stay in that 3rd spot in the Eastern Conference standings.
Full-time match stats do look like this. 4 shots to 3 on target. Going Charleston's way, 12 total shots for Memphis, and with nearly 60% possession, they would expect to have done more with that, I would say.
Oh, absolutely. More with the 59% possession, especially going into this match, knowing they wanted to be more transitional based. 12 shots, only 3 shots on target. That's something that Memphis is going to have to work on as more games come towards them if they want to stay in this playoff push.
And in the end, Charleston's management of the second half was enough for all 3 points in what turned out to be a really intriguing matchup in the Eastern Conference of the USL Championship. We see how Memphis bounced back, but it's a huge night for Charleston.
Charleston with 3 massive points at home to stay in that 3rd spot, to get a massive win against the Memphis side who's looked really good of late. They should be really proud of that defensive work that they did to keep Memphis at bay.
For Anna Whitty and our entire crew, I'm Sean St. Jacques. That's it for us. We say so long from the Low Country. Revenge is a dish best served cold. The Battery get revenge on Memphis tonight, and they win it by 1-0.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.